Hard to believe, folks. When the weekend is done, we will be in the month of June, which means we're like 2 months away from football practice starting. Boy, well, you want things to hurry up, but then you go, slow down. We're never happy. Larry Smith, Mike Cagley, Brad Sturdy, we're the Illini guys. This is the Sports Spectacular. By the way, if you are not familiar, we come from the land of IlliniGuys.com, where milk and honey pours freely for $9.99 a month. No, $10.99 a month. Is it nine? I don't know what it is. Anyway, go in there. Free 7-day trial. Go check it
It's
out.
a great deal, regardless.
Whatever it is, it's a quarter a day. It is literally you flip a quarter, or you can have us. Like one of the two. But I digress. All right, we have lots to talk about, of course, coming up. Illini golf didn't turn out the way Mike Small would have liked. We'll discuss that here in a few minutes. Our good friend Brian Barnhart joins us. Illini sports right now is in an excellent place. We're going to discuss a lot about that here in the show. A lot of things to talk about. Caitlin is out. What does it mean for our friends over to the East? Sorry, they've got a fever to get her back. See what I did there? Okay, let's get to Illini contracts before I sub-reference again and you flip the channel. Guys, big story here this week is the finalization a few days ago of the contracts for the coaches of the two revenue sports, football and men's basketball, Brett Bielema and Brad Underwood. First off, on the surface, we were talking before we started the show, and Brad, man, you've been a fan of this program for a long time. Mike, you have too. We're in a spot right now that's really good in terms of having good coaches locked up for a long time with momentum behind them. I hope everyone really enjoys what's about to happen here in the next 12, 24 months, because this could be a lot of fun.
You know, you got to credit Josh Whitman for what he's done here in locking these guys up who've had success, who brought these programs from where they were struggling. Obviously, football struggling longer than basketball, but both on the struggle bus for a long time. And they've made them relevant. They're ranked preseason. They're one of the top Big Ten teams. Underwood leading the Big Ten in wins. Bielema taking Illinois to a 10-win season, now ranked in the top 15 in most polls. I'm not sure we can do much better than that at the moment. Now, obviously, it's never enough, right? It's never going to be enough, because if you continue to do this, they'll be like, why don't you win a national title then? Because we need a Final Four. We need a college football playoff. It's never going to be enough. But stability is so much fun. Now, they've had instability. They've been really good at that. But instability is a good thing. And to have two quality coaches like this across the street from each other is really fantastic for the Illini revenue sports.
Yeah, we haven't had this since Lou Henson and Mike White, and then, Lou Henson and John Makovic. It's very nice to see. There's no reason why Illinois shouldn't be in this position other than mediocre athletic directors. And now you have an athletic director who doesn't have a lot of excuses that he uses. He just puts his head down and makes things better. And I think that is what this school has missed for all those years of the Ron Gunther. But you just need to compete, whatever that means.
Mike, can I ask you a question? So you say it's bad athletic direction. What is the most important job of these athletic directors? Is it just the fact that Whitman's there, or is it the fact that he hired the right guys? Is it a combination?
I think a couple things have to happen. One is you have to hire the right guys. Bottom line is we know college sports is driven by the coaches. So you get that guy or gal who is single-minded about winning. And then I think the other thing is I think that Josh Whitman is able to influence the people above him, because folks don't understand, unless you've been in a big company, you don't understand how slow a company changes or how crushing its culture can be. And the culture at U of I worked on campus at my dad's office in the 80s. You could say the word NCAA loudly and people would actually duck and cover. So the fear factor and all those things was there. And I think now you've got a guy like Josh Whitman who's following his own trail now, because he's saying we're going to do what's necessary to win, and we're going to use the rules to our advantage. I don't think they're necessarily trying to bend the rules, but they're looking at the rules saying, how can this work for us, not be an excuse as to why we don't win.
And let's face it, nobody fears the NCAA anymore. So let's just take that out of the equation.
Yeah.
Gee, but yeah, but I think you're right. And I think to give credit also to those above Josh Whitman, understand this is a different era. And I'll say it again, I don't mean to be a broken record, with NIL, with transfer portal, with the Wild West in terms of the rules, the stuff that was illegal and get you on probation, if not get a coach a show cause, now was celebrated and talked about online openly. It is totally different right now. You have a chance because for the first time really in the modern era, there is a level playing field. We've talked before, and we'll talk more later on here in the show about how Illinois is now fighting, competing with the Blue Bloods for top talent and winning those battles. Not just you're in the conversation and gee, it's Duke. No, you're beating Duke. You're beating Kentucky on a regular basis. You're becoming a destination program, both in basketball and in football. And I think that's what's exciting. Football, I think right now, because it's up next, it's where with basketball, Brad Underwood has got this thing rolling now. If it weren't for COVID, it'd be 6 straight NCAA tournaments, etc. Brett Bielema is one, and I know he doesn't like the whole, oh, it's the first time since. Brett, sorry, that's what you inherited, and that's where we are. One thing we haven't talked much about is they've already sold out of season tickets. The support is there, and I think what I hope is the PTSD of Illini fans of being afraid to go back into that stadium. Hopefully that's gone now with not back-to-back winning seasons yet. We hope that's coming, but you believe enough in the overall program over 4 years, you're willing to put your money in play in the spring and make sure you've got a seat at the table come fall.
Yeah, no question. It's such we talk about Illinois being we've talked about being a basketball school before, but the reality is football drives everything, right? And so you want to be successful in football and to sell out your season tickets. They've done this also cool thing they've done with student season tickets where they can get if they buy them for 4 years, it's like cheaper, right? So what a fantastic, they've done a great job marketing it to kids and students, and people are excited. And I think there is some PTSD because we're just waiting for the shoe to drop and lose a game to Eastern Illinois or Western Michigan or something like that. And we'll be like, oh God, see, I told you. But no, the reality is Brett Bielema has put this program in a position where I don't see that happening anymore. I feel like they're a down year now, I think can be 6 or 7 wins. I think, and that's where you want your program to be, right? You have a bad year, you make a bowl game, maybe it's the Mayo Bowl or something like that. And they dump mayonnaise on Brett Bielema. I actually want to see that. But anyway, but that's a side note. But no, but the other side, but on the upside, it's 10 plus wins. It's making a college football playoff. That's where you want to be as a program.
Yeah, Brett Bielema took over for Barry Alvarez, and he had a juggernaut. Now Brett Bielema has done what Barry Alvarez did, because Barry Alvarez came to Madison when that was a laughingstock program, and he, through force of will and good coaching, turned it around. And Brett Bielema's doing the same thing. And I think there were a lot of people out there who spent their whole adult lives going, Brett Bielema, he can take over for somebody else. Guess what? He's doing exactly what people dared him to do. And he's so far been very successful at doing it.
Yeah, and I think, as we've talked before, I think that with what he did at Wisconsin, we can see him now. Like you said, the cupboard was already full for him at Wisconsin. He had to take some time. He learned, and we discussed this right off air. He's learned from some other coaches in the NFL, including one of the best NFL coaches ever, Bill Belichick. Obviously, he learned from Barry Alvarez. He learned from Hayden Fry. Now he's to implement all those things. And I think, again, he can make his mark and be that coach. I'm in the position that I'm not afraid to say that I think this could be, we're entering possibly the greatest era ever of Illini football. And it's because of Brett Bielema. It's because of his talent, his skill, his experience, the staff he's put together, what they're accomplishing there in the Smith Center. And I think that, like Brad said before, we're like, listen, I've joked before that if Brett could do 8 back-to-back 8-win seasons, they'll build a statue. I think they can do better than that now. I think they can string together some 9-10 win seasons and be one of those teams that was up there that's contending with the big boys. And again, with the playoff right now, it's one thing, you always want to win conference championships. Now the game changes from what it was 20 years ago, because now just getting that playoff every year. Imagine if you're one of those what's soon to be 16 teams that getting the love shown, and you're hosting a game at Memorial Stadium in mid-December, and you're going on to a play in a bowl game in the quarterfinals, whatever. What that does to your program. That's a place Illinois football has never, ever been, like ever, Taylor Swift fans, And yet I do believe that they're right there and they could be on the cusp of that right now.
Yeah, I totally agree. And the first part of that is recruiting. Recruiting is on a different level. They're recruiting currently their 2026 class is in the top 10 nationally. So if you're recruiting top 10 classes, guess what? You're going to probably have some top 10 teams in there down the road. And so that's what Brett Bielema has done. And I think to his credit, you mentioned one of his biggest teacher has been experience. I think he had so much success at Arkansas, or I'm sorry, at Wisconsin, that when he went to Arkansas, I think he thought it was going to be just like that. It's just going to be easy. I'm just going to do this. I think he realized that it's hard and how hard it is. But he embraced it. Many guys he came in humble, worked hard, he's done it, and he's still that guy. He's got that grind, and he's a fantastic recruiter. He's done a great job of putting together future rosters too, getting some talented playmakers, talented quarterbacks in these younger classes. So it's really impressive what he's done there. So I think with the recruiting, you take that next step and you move up a level. You're now probably a middle Big Ten team. Remember, there's 5,000 Big Ten teams, so you're in the top 2,500. But no, being a middle Big Ten team means you're a consistently good team in our middle Big Ten program, I would say. And so you've got a chance to move up, though. And wouldn't it be cool if Illinois was mentioned in the same breath as a Penn State or even moving up ahead of Iowa and Wisconsin, as they've moved up ahead of Wisconsin, it looks like.
And you're also forgetting the fact that Brett Bielema is a grade A troll on social media, which I'm sorry, that counts for points today because he's funny and he doesn't really do it in a way that's going to hurt people's feelings. So he's fairly biting with a sense of humor. And I think that's part of his charm that he pulls off. I got to be honest with you. I wasn't certain that this was the right hire, and he's certainly proven me wrong multiple times over now. Not that's a new thing, but nonetheless, it's impressive how far he's brought this program, especially for us fans who are old enough to remember some of the bad years.
Yeah, no question about that. Hey, guys, I want to, before we get a break, as we have Matt Stevens come up in a few minutes and talk a little more football, a little men's golf as well, I just want to get in a mention for Terrence Shannon Jr. and what he did in this series. Minnesota done. Oklahoma City is moving on to the NBA Finals. But what he did, he was instant offense. I literally stopped in my tracks and watched every second of the game in the second quarter when he was in Game 3 and again in Game 4. And he did it again in Game 5 coming in and just instant offense. A couple of things. First off, kudos to a young man who worked so hard to be in this position. And then secondly, Minnesota Timberwolves. What are you thinking? How can you not find a few minutes for this guy as a change of pace guy in the second quarter? He comes in with the reserves. He's instantly the best athlete on the court, the best basketball player on the court. He showed that time and time again. You have to wonder what the T-Wolves, how many wins might they have been able to squeak out, and maybe they'd found a way to do that in the second half of the season.
Yeah, he's been great. His time that he gets on the court, he's so productive, and you hope that they say he's the future. They're talking about him even on ESPN and different things in these shows. And because he's so athletic and he fits in the NBA, and I think he'll get an opportunity next year, we hope.
And I think the key thing that frustrates me is Terrence Shannon Jr.'s got a boatload of power, of athletic talent. And you know what, folks? He's a year older than Anthony Edwards, and they feel like they need to keep him on the bench. It's, what are you doing? You got a 25-year-old who's starting to get to the peak of his physical powers, and you're letting him clap on the sideline most of the year. Nice job, coach.
Yeah, maybe he's good at it. He's good clapper.
What they say. Yeah, I agree with you. He is. It is to watch him, the speed and the power and the size. And the other piece I had to scratch my head with the ESPN announcers acting as if they just found this moon rock, right? It was like, oh, look at this. Wow, he's incredible. I'm like, I want to, he's done this for years. This is who he is. Hello. Clap on, clap off. Producer Tony says, clap him on, put him on. So maybe, I don't know, like you said, has a year under his belt. It's a different thing next year. But if you're not going to play him, trade the guy. You send him out to the G League, he scores 40 on those guys.
Yep.
He can't, clearly, a lot of guys can't stop him. Put him out there, see what happens. Hello. I know he doesn't make as much money as the other guys, but isn't that a good thing if you can get more bang for your buck? A bargain?
Hey, Mike scored 40 once by himself. He was only in the gym for 2 hours.
I was at a Nerf game in my bedroom.
But he won.
Of course, I'm undefeated.
He dominated his wife in Nerf basketball.
Exactly. We'll discuss that in the next break. Actually, we'll talk football and golf with Matt Stevens. That's next on the Sports Spectacular, powered by IlliniGuys.com.